Alright, Shalom. Just want to start off with saying all praise Yahweh, Bashem Shai, Bashem HaKadosh, double honors to Apostle Elders, a great millstone that taught me this 100% truth the well. Salutations to the Yakim out there pushing the truth with all sincerity and which their lives to do so. Salutations to the hopeful light that are scattered among the four corners of the earth that believe in the truth Yahweh, Bashem Shai. Shalom, this is your brother Dawah. Um, going to a lesson on, Genesis 3, dealing with, the serpent and Eve, and how the serpent made or convinced Eve and Adam to go off. You know, uh, but the funny thing is, the other day, well, for past couple of days, the spirit been on me to actually go into a video on this, and I never got around to doing it. So just the other day, today's so-called Saturday, yesterday was so-called Friday. I was at work. I put these just reading on the scriptures, whatever, and that I put together, and in the midst of it, what I'm saying, I watched the videos, whatever, and I came across Elder Yashawamba's video. Elder Yashawamba is the elder of the of the Dallas camp, right? And the spirit was on him, to do a video on it as well. You know what I'm saying? And the name of his video is The Serpent in the Garden Was a Sorcerer. You know what I'm saying? And um, it gave me more edification. You know what I'm saying? His video that he did, showing you everything just through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. Though I had came up with or the spirit led me to go into these things earlier, but I never put the production out or went into the lesson. It was because it was appointed by Yahweh Shem Shai, for me to be further edified, before going into the video. You know what I'm saying? So present the proper doctrine and into the flock. You know what I'm saying? Because in this truth, the Lord has appointed men, through His Spirit, to teach other men. That's what the scriptures say. Do thou, do thou understand what thou readest? And He said, how can I understand if I don't have a man to guide me? You know what I'm saying? So you need men. You know what I'm saying? To lead you in this truth. That's why the Lord has, set up the council, what I'm saying, that He has, starting, with the elder apostle Tahar, and his men under him, Apostle Ramla, Apostle Rakar, and Apostle Kabar. You know what I'm saying? There's an order. The Lord has, given these men 100% truth. And they learned from the elders before them. Elder Elder High Priest Ariah. You know what I'm saying? Elder Jacob, King Marsha, and so forth. Albert Bivens, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's an order the Lord gave, who's Albert Bivens, who is John the Baptist's reincarnation, you know what I'm saying? And Elijah, for those that, the Lord has given the eyes and ears to, understand His truth, the elect, they re-understand reincarnation. And, we understand that the Lord has appointed men, to lead and guide, His flock, because, this is, the awakening that the Lord has, prophesied to take place in these last days, going into Ezekiel 37, that, the tribes are going to come together in these last days and we were going to be awakened, and, this is that time, and, everything is done through the Spirit, so I am grateful that, the Lord, put the Spirit on your Elder Yashawamba to bring this forth, to give me more edification, and so, when I time to, do my lesson, that, I can present it properly. And, that's what it's all about. As you get edified, as a man coming into this thing as a nation of Israel, it's your, due diligence to also, receive this knowledge and, try to edify as well. You know what I'm saying? If that, the lot that the Lord has placed upon you, and Lord willing, I I do these things because, it's all through the Spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no will of my own, but I do feel that, or well, it is true that, if you come into this thing, you know what I'm saying, you supposed to obtain the knowledge, and you gotta, try to, you know, um, do the work as well, because you can't just hold on to this thing, and as it goes in, I think it's Luke 19, if I'm not mistaken, you can't just hold on to the monies, or the the knowledge that the Lord, gives you, and just, and not, do the work, because you deem yourself as selfish, and the Lord will see you as wicked. You know what I'm saying? If you don't actually, try to at least make an attempt to do whatever, uh, uh, talents that the Lord has given unto you. You know what I'm saying? Some men have more talents than the other, but you still, have to make the attempt to, at least, put some effort forth in trying to do the work of Yahweh Shemashai. If He gave His true knowledge and wisdom and understanding unto you, you're supposed to, try to put in work, and through the Spirit of Yahweh Shemashai, to the best of your ability, of the talents that He gave into you. But again, I just, uh, want to go into the lesson now, and I just wanted to mention that everything is through the Spirit of Yahweh Shemashai. Though I didn't get a chance to get into it when I put it together, but it was meant for me to, listen and, receive more edification and put it forth, because a lot of lessons come through around. Brothers do the same lessons, but each brother, deliver it differently. You know what I'm saying? Because each brother has a different, teaching method. So but that's, all through the Spirit. So the Lord, what I'm saying, when He wants certain things to come out, certain topics, what I'm saying, He put it on the spirit of men, what I'm saying, to bring these things out, so to edify, His flock, so, um, to get proper knowledge and understanding of the scriptures, because for the longest time, we've been asleep, and not having the proper wisdom and understanding of Yahweh Shema Shai. But it's truth is back in the earth, showing that the Lord is casting down Esau, Edom, the so-called right man. He bring down this devil's kingdom. Because this is the time that the Lord has appointed, for this devil, to be taken out of power, and us awakening, is a sign of that. Showing you that he's at the end of his kingdom, and they're in fear, of this awakening of the nation of Israel. And so the Lord is taking down the strongholds that this devil has placed upon us, giving us plantation Christianity, telling us, about, Adam and Eve, and they were the only two, and, what I'm saying? Well, then you had questions, because there's so many holes in Christianity. So Adam and Eve were the only two, then they had two sons. How did they sons go off and marry? You know what I'm saying? Like, that don't even add up, And, a serpent, a snake actually coming up to Eve and convincing her to eat an apple, and all of a sudden her eyes are open, and now she knows Eve. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? These are Greek mythologies that this devil came with, because the devil came to deceive the whole world, and that's what he, in his reign, what I'm saying, he was allowed to do that, because that was part of his gift, and that was part of what the Lord, allowed him to do, to be deceitful, and that's the way the Lord created him to be. But the story is going as the Lord has intended, because it was meant for Adam and Eve to go off, because the Lord gave them only righteousness, and for us to know true judgment and to rule properly, we had to learn both sides of the spectrum. We had to go through a period of being on top and a period of falling, learning both wickedness and evilness. So in our kingdom, we can rule righteously, so we can have righteous judgment. But that's how the Lord wrote the story. What I'm saying, for us to be on top and us to fall, and for Him to come and redeem us. What I'm saying, it was all preordained by the Spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. And we're just living out the movie. So anything that even take place in your life, there's no such thing as free will, as they taught you in plantation Christianity. Everything, every little thing that takes place in your life has been preordained by Yahweh Shem Shai. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that you can do to change that. You know, it's you just got to live out the movie that he has written, you know, in each lifetime that you come back to this earth. You know what I'm saying? You see certain judgments for things that you did in your past lives. You know, that's just how the Lord has wrote it. And you know, the Lord has wrote, you know, a villain in the movie who was Esau, Edom, and a hero who was Jacob. You know what I'm saying? And our Savior Yahweh Bashem Shai, Yahweh Shai is coming for us. You know what I'm saying? It's getting close to that time, and you know, the time is winding down on this devil's kingdom. And you know, like I said, you know, the Lord is casting down, you know, the strongholds of this devil, you know, waking us up, and you know, we coming out of the ways of plantation Christianity, and we coming into the truth. Now we got the proper understanding of the scriptures, and it's all through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai, you know, that this is being done. And you know, I'm gonna put, you know, Elder Yashawampa's lesson in the scripture about my lesson, so you can actually go into it, listen to it, and be edified, because it's a beautiful lesson. And, you know, this brother makes it very edifying, and the spirit is heavy on him. You know, he does 100 videos a day, man. So you know, yeah, but it's all through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai, you know. And again, in this lesson, you know, you're gonna see some of the same scriptures that I'm gonna bring out, that he brought out too, but you know, might be a few different here and there, because you know, he went into just talking about, you know, the serpent and the sorcery or whatnot, you know, which is true, you know what I'm saying, which gave me more edification on that as well. So this is Genesis 3:1, which reads, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord, what the Yahweh power have made it." You know, and when you go into, you know, the beast, this is other nations, because the Lord didn't give the law, statute, commandments unto, you know, the other nations. He gave it unto his chosen people, you know. So to, you know, to give you more clearance understanding, is that, you know, people, you know, in Christianity, like I said, they just tell you that there was Adam and Eve, and you know, all people just know that the Lord made men, and he made women, and he made, you know, other nations, and he chose a sect of people unto his own. You know what I'm saying? He chose Adam and Eve and other men and women to be of his people. He selected a people of all the nations that he created, but he chose a nation into his own. And you know, when the scriptures talk about, you know, the Lord gave, you know, took a rib from Adam, he was to make a woman. No, he just meant that the true understanding is that the Lord took someone of his nation, of the people that he had chosen, his woman, you know what I'm saying, of a nation, of his nation, to be his wife. You know what I'm saying? He didn't choose a heathen nation. You know what I'm saying? He chose the nation that he chose to be his, you know, that he gave his law, statute, and commandments to, which was an oral thing, you know, because the Lord, when he created us to be immoral, and to lead the other nations. We were supposed to lead the nations as an example. But, you know, we was ruling for years and years and years during this time, and they knew who we were, the nations at the time, and the other heathens, you know, they knew who they were. You know what I'm saying? We were. So this wasn't a downfall, just an overnight thing. Nah, this thing took time to come and play, you know. And you know, when this serpent, this man, is not no, you know, real, no snake or whatever, is a real man who, you know, came in the image of, you know, or the way of Satan, you know, or of wickedness. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, you know, Elder Wamba pointed out in his video, like, you know, dealing with sorcery, dealing with the left hand side of wickedness, and they presented that, you know, to Eve, and you know, that's how she ended up going on. But we're gonna get into that. But yeah, you know, so to set, you know, the record straight on, no, there wasn't a snake, you know what I'm saying? And you know, we were in rule at a time, and we were a sect of people that the Lord has chosen, that He gave His law, statutes, and commandments to. And this wicked serpent that the Lord, you know, He gave the subtlety to, he was the most subtle of all the other nations. You know what I'm saying? He was the most cleverest beast of other nations who the Lord didn't choose to give His law, statutes, and commandments for. You know, going into, you know, the four beasts, you know, kingdoms that the Lord had set up as well. You know what I'm saying? Those are beast kingdoms that the Lord had brought into power, you know, to rule. But they ruled, you know, of their own way. They worshiped their own gods. They had their own rules. You know, they had their own laws. They didn't have the ways of Yahweh Shema Shai set appointed, because they wasn't chosen by the Lord. But the Lord chose them to put them into power. You know what I'm saying? To give punishment unto the nation of Israel for going off as a people. You know what I'm saying? The Lord allowed these four beasts, or these four kingdoms, to rule. You know what I'm saying? In these times, and we're at the last beast. You know what I'm saying? Which is the Roman Empire. And you so-called America is the revival of the Roman Empire, and this devil is in his last rule of the last kingdom, and before the Lord comes. But again, you know what I'm saying? Let's jump back in to Genesis 3:1. I'm gonna read it again. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh power have made. And you know, when you go to the field is the world, and we're gonna get that here. And this is Matthew 13 and 38. The field is the world. You see. So when the Lord said the field, the Lord was talking about the world. You know what I'm saying? Not just a field and a garden, because that's the mindset that this devil Esau Edom got you in. That they was just in a garden, they was in a field, and they was just amongst fruits, and they just ate a bad, took it off the tree and just ate a bad fruit, and then all of a sudden sin came to the world. No, that's not what happened. You know what I'm saying? That's what the narrative that this devil created. No, it was they was in the world, and that's the field that the Lord is pertaining to. So of all the world, this beast or the serpent was the most subtle of all the other nations. You know what I'm saying? The most clever, and that's what this devil is. Esau Edom. He's the most clever. He convinced you. This devil convinced you that the so-called Lord, what I'm saying, our Messiah is a so-called white man. You know what I'm saying? He told you that he's the people. You know what I'm saying? He put a covering cast over other nations. Telling you that that the 18 nations that the Lord created in the Bible pretty much don't exist anymore. The only people that exist is the Jews. You know what I'm saying? So-called Jewish people, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But other nations in the Bible don't exist anymore because he put that covering cast over, and that's clever. That's being subtle. That's what he did. You know what I'm saying? That's part of his blessing to be deceptive. You know what I'm saying? So he told you, that he told the nation of Israel, you're not the nation of Israel. You're so-called black. You're so-called Latinos. You're so-called Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? He stole your identity and took it as his own, and he made the images into himself. You know what I'm saying? Of being our Savior, whose true name is Yahweh Shai. He even changed the name to so-called Jesus Christ and created his own doctrine. You know what I'm saying? Telling you that there's a immaculate birth. You know what I'm saying? So he can do away to the sea line, so he can include himself in the blessing. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can come to the Lord and be saved. You know what I'm saying? This devil, he made up all these, the bullshit holidays, dealing with Christmas, which is Saturnalia, which is something pagan that he created. You know what I'm saying? Which created wickedness. You know what I'm saying? And he told you that it's so-called, Jesus' birthday or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's what that's the wickedness of the devil. But that's being said that he's clever. He came up with this, and now people, our people get stuck up in that, celebrating these things, Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? And that's wickedness behind itself, because in that, he came, he created genocide, mass murder upon our people, the Northern Kingdom, and then he brought, uh, our people from the west coast of Africa, the Southern Kingdom, and told the neighbor Africans, you know what I'm saying, and got free labor off of them, you know what I'm saying, committed genocide amongst them as well, and they got us, chanting that we African, you know what I'm saying, like that's the cleverness of the wickedness of this devil, that's being subtle. He did that, you know what I'm saying, so it's just. It's just amazing, but that's all through the spirit of Yahweh Shemashai. The Lord loved this devil, who was the lowest of all men, to come into the power seat and rule in these last days, But again, the field is the world, you know. Let's jump back. No, slack it. That's not what I wanted. And he said unto the woman, ye have the Most High said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. Yeah, the Lord told us not to go and eat or take upon the ways of the other nations. That's pretty much what he's saying here. So when you get into eating, before I go into that, let me jump back up and let's go to serpent. You know, this is biblical uses. Serpent is snake. That's not a serpent. Image of a serpent. These are not. but he did, come into the image of the serpent, being that he represented wickedness, yes. But as far as like, uh, it being a serpent itself, no. He was just, someone that indulged in wickedness, came in as, the spirit of Satan, and, and dealing with wicked ways, dealing with wickedness on the left hand side. And so when you go into the lexicon, the Hebrew Chaldean uh, lexicon, you can see they give you, certain scriptures dealing with, going into this. It says use the constellation of the serpent or a dragon, that old dragon, the serpent, the devil and Satan. You're going into Esau, Edom. You know what I'm saying? That too. And then you go down here, a town of otherwise unknown. It says a king of Amorites, and of various men. So again, you show that a serpent, it could be a man. You know what I'm saying? Um, Also, I did grab the scripture here, Job 26:13, which is here. I'm started at 12. This is Job 26:12. He divided the sea, and this is what dealing with the Lord's creation. He divided the sea, and with his power, and by his understanding, he smited through the proud. Yeah, he smited through the devil. Esau, Edom, the devil. He smited them. By his spirit, he have garnished the heavens. His hand have formed the crooked serpent. Yeah, the Lord created the crooked serpent, the wicked serpent, on the left hand side, because a serpent can be, a righteous serpent having wisdom, but, the Lord also created the crooked serpent, the wicked serpent, who was Esau, Edom. You know what I'm saying? So, a serpent who, that's what, scriptures say, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. You know what I'm saying? So that's just you being subtle, using subtlety or using proper judgment in certain situations. Like, for instance, like you're not going to go on your job and tell the so-called white man he's the devil. You know what I'm saying? He's going into captivity. You know what I'm saying? Because you still got to go to work. You know what I'm saying? To, while you're in this captivity, to provide for your family. And that's not the smartest thing for you to do. You know what I'm saying? Even though that might be true, you telling them that. You know what I'm saying? That's not using proper, judgment and being subtle or using proper wisdom, uh, in that circumstance. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you on the highways and byways or whatever, that's the proper time to be, you know, speaking into these devils about, them going into captivity, because you're on your job for Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? You're on the battlefield, and that's your job. Then you know highways and byways, condemning this devil, tell him that he's the wicked. You know what I'm saying? The Lord hates him, and he's going in captivity. He's gonna pay for what he did to the children of Israel. Then you're in your right. You know what I'm saying? Then you can say those things, because you're standing and you're fighting, and you're blowing the trumpet. You know what I'm saying? Into the nation, letting them know. Into all the nations. You know what I'm saying? Letting our nation of people know who we are, and all these other nations know who they are, and the consequences of what they've done to the nation of Israel. You know what I'm saying? So yes, there's a serpent. You know what I'm saying? Being, when you being wise and using, being using proper judgment in certain circumstances, like even when dealing with, the police. You know what I'm saying? Like, what they set up here for, that that came from, slavery. You know what I'm saying? Like the same badge and everything. So when they come out there, they come out there with that perpetual hatred to, put you to death. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta be, agree with that adversary, quickly, and do, even though they might be violating and whatever it may be. Jake, you really ain't got no rights anyway. You still gotta, be smart and deal with them accordingly, so you don't, get tossed in jail or whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? You see Jakes all the time. You see these videos like, oh, violate my right. I'm doing recording. Just do what these niggas ask you to do. You know what I'm saying? You gotta deal with that. You know. But that's just the judgment from Yahweh Shemashah, because the Lord ain't dealing with them. But those that are of the hopeful light, we understand that the scriptures and what the Lord wants us to do in these situations when dealing with that. You know. So again, let's go to the etymology. Oh, Slakia. Let's listen to
Strong's H 5175. Nachash. Nachash.
Nahash, and that's the Hebrew word for serpent. And let's see. And you go to the biblical usage here. It's like it shows you, and this is what Elder Yashimaba went into in this video. Bringing forth more edification, prove you to you that this was a man that came into Eve, that uh, brought her left hand side wickedness. You know what I'm saying? So biblical uses here it says to practice divination, the divine observes signs learned by experience, diligent observe, practice for fort untelling, take as an omen, pile the practice of divination to observe the signs of omens. Yeah, so this man came into Eve, presented her wickedness. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a snake that came in. This is a wicked man, you know, uh, that came into Eve. And again, I'm gonna read and start here in Genesis 31 in here. The last few paragraphs. It says, and he said unto the woman, Ye have the Most High said, ye shall not eat of the tree of every tree of the garden. Yeah, and the trees, those are dealing with men on uh, uh, the nations or that the Lord didn't want us to deal with because the Lord separated us from them, and we were supposed to be leading as examples. So you're not supposed to go and be amongst these nations. You're supposed to be separated from them, and you're supposed to lead the way for them. You know what I'm saying? So if we get Mark here, this is Mark 8:24, and he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. See, so we deal with the trees. You know what I'm saying? That's why the scriptures say, precept upon precept, line upon line upon line, here a little and there a little. And yeah, you say, I love thy precepts because they give me understanding. And that's what you need the men of the Lord for, to, bring these lessons out to edify so you can get the proper wisdom understanding and get the precepts that you need to get the knowledge and the understanding through Yahweh Bashim Mashai. And that's why the Lord has set up these men forth, to bring this forth. You know what I'm saying? To edify the nation of Israel so you can get the proper understanding of the scriptures, because now we can understand that, this is not dealing with, a serpent just coming to and telling to eat an apple, and going to eating. We can get this Ezekiel 3:1, which reads, Moreover, say unto me, son of man, eat thou findest eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel. So the Lord told Ezekiel, take this roll and eat it, which means take, the scriptures are, what I'm giving unto you, the scrolls, the scriptures, and eat this, learn this, obtain this knowledge that I'm giving you, and go prophesy this into, the nation of Israel, speaking to the, your people. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat the roll. He went and he supped with the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Getting the proper wisdom and understanding of the scriptures. And said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat and fill thy bowels with this roll. Yeah, and the Lord filled his bowels with the roll. The proper knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's why the scriptures also go into that the belly is to flow like living waters. You know what I'm saying? Just paraphrasing. Because this truth, sits dwell within the elected nation of Israel, and the men of the nation of Israel, and the wisdom and knowledge, flows out, as you speak. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all done to the Spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, because He gave you His, out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water, which is the truth of Yahweh Shem Shai, the 100% truth of Yahweh Shem Shai, because He gave you the understanding of the scriptures so you can edify and go out and teach these lessons. Again, with this roll that I give thee, then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. Yeah, see the goodness of the scriptures. So he didn't necessarily eat the what you call it, some paper and just ate it up. No, he sat and supped with the Lord, and ate up the knowledge, understanding that the Lord gave unto him. And he said unto me, Son of man, go get thee into the house of Israel and speak with words unto them. You see, for thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech of and hard language, but to the house of Israel. Yeah, so this word is only meant for the nation of Israel. That's why the Lord said, I come not for the Lord seek for the house of Israel. You know what I'm saying? Even, the Lord said, I didn't say I changed not. The Lord never changed the narrative of his story. You know what I'm saying? So even the so-called white man, the devil in the flesh did that. You know what I'm saying? But the Lord allowed him to do so. That's all part of the story. So, this shows you that, the eating that Eve did wasn't like eating of a tree. The Lord, she just took upon the knowledge that was given unto her of left hand wickedness, you know, that was presented unto her. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, mix it amongst, their own people, you know what I'm saying? And getting the fruit or the knowledge of, you know, um, uh, that the Lord has given unto them. You know what I'm saying? Stay with your people, stay separate. You know what I'm saying? These are my men. You know what I'm saying? Y'all to rule. This is the nation. Stay within. You know what I'm saying? And you lead the other nations by example. You know what I'm saying? Don't fall into their ways. You know what I'm saying? I gave you my law, statutes, commandments. It's only for you, and you're supposed to let the nations know how to live according to Yahweh Shemashah. Reading going. But the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High, Yahweh Shemashah, have said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because the Lord, gave us immortality, you know what I'm saying, with this, And like I said, we were ruling for a time, and these other nations, they knew who we were. You know what I'm saying? We know we were the chosen people, you know? And that's why the serpent came into Eve, you know what I'm saying? To get her to go off, to deceive her, you know what I'm saying? But the Lord, sent him to her because that was all part of his story, you know? And, as we sinned, we lost our immortality. We lost our place. We came in a fallen state. That's why we're in the, condition that we're in now, you know what I'm saying? Because we broke that covenant with the Lord, you know? Even, in the wilderness, dealing with, the Lord giving us the Lord statutes and commandments then. Again, you know what I'm saying? And, when Moses wrote it on tablets or whatever, we still couldn't, hold up to, what the Lord, wanted us to do. And that's why he had to send Yahweh Shai. Adam, who is Adam, you know what I'm saying, as well. Because, for those that can receive that and understand reincarnation, the Lord got it right when he sent Adam back as Yahweh Shai, to die for his people, to give back that immortality, to conquer death, to conquer hell, you know what I'm saying, and subdue it, And that's what the Lord did, you know what I'm saying? When Yahweh Shai came, he died, he swallowed up hell and death and hell, which means that he given us back our mortality. We will never die again, and we're not going to be in these hellish conditions that we're in now, because we're going to be in a righteous state, and we're going to be in our kingdom, and we're going to rule righteously as the Lord has intended from the beginning, going back, to the times of Adam. Renewing Genesis 3:3, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yahweh Shemashah said, ye shall not eat it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Yeah. So, I mean to read that again, but yeah, you would die, but you're going to lose your immortality. And this is what the serpent had to say. And the serpent said, the wicked man, the deceiver, not a snake, you know what I'm saying, just a wicked individual that practiced, came in that spirit of Satan, bringing his image, presenting his wickedness left hand side, wickedness, being a warlock, being a witch, you know what I'm saying, teaching, witchcraft, into, presenting that into Eve. Read on. For the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Yeah, so, they were going to know both the righteousness and the wickedness, but the Lord had only gave them the Lord's statutes and commandments, because like I said, he created them so the scriptures say he created man in his image, right? So he gave an image unto a people, a nation of Israel. He created, us to look like him. He created us to, follow after his ways, giving us, chosen us to be owning it to him, to be above, to be gods, to be above all the other nations, to be immortal. You know what I'm saying? He gave that unto us. So he made us in his image. And he also made, uh, in the image of the angel of the wickedness as well. That's why the serpent came about, because he also made a wicked image, dealing with evil, because the Lord is balanced. He controls both the wicked and the evil. So those other nations, what I'm saying, they would warn his people. They wasn't righteous. They were wicked individuals. That's why this man came to Eve to subdue her, to make her do to convince her to do wickedness, and Eve did. So the Lord also created the image of wickedness on the left hand side and gave it into the people as well. You know what I'm saying? As he gave the image of righteousness, through his people, who was the nation of Israel, to represent it to him. You know what I'm saying? He has a representation of wickedness on the left hand side, dealing with the serpent. As you can see, the serpent, in the left hand side image of dealing with wickedness. But and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. So yeah, you know, they, they received the knowledge, of the sorcery, dealing in wickedness, and open up their eyes to wickedness. You know what I'm saying? So they understood now. Oh, this is what this is what he was talking about. And then we can do things on left hand side, and then Eve, as she dabbled, she convinced, presented this to Adam, and Adam was like, oh, okay, all right, well, this is what it is. This is what this is about. This is what that the Lord didn't want us to know. But I guess, I mean, if you're doing it, it ain't nothing wrong, whatever. So they just kind of like, I'm just me speaking as a man. So he just kind of went with it. You know what I'm saying? But after a while, he understood, like, oh, okay, like we open up our eyes to wickedness, that he can feel that that he knew that he was pretty much in the wrong for doing this. You know what I'm saying? As we go in here, as you read on in Genesis, you'll see that he said, and the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig trees together and made themselves aprons. Yeah, so they knew that they was naked, which means they was without the covering of Yahweh Shem Shai. So they, uh, you know, they were covered in wickedness now. You know what I'm saying? So they went and mingled among the nations now. You know what I'm saying? Because they took upon the wickedness, and they knew that that the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, had pretty much you know uh, dealt away with them, because they could understand that they was in the wrong for what they did, because they they was without their covering, they were naked. Then we going to go into, let's get Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel 16:8, which reads, now when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, saith Yahweh Hashem Rashai, and thou becomest mine. So the Lord made a covenant with the nation of Israel. You know what I'm saying? He covered our nakedness. He gave us his law, statute, and commandments. He didn't give it to other nations. He gave it unto us. You know what I'm saying? So without that, without his knowledge, wisdom, understanding, we're naked. Just like coming into this truth. Like when we were in our Gentile state of mind, we were naked. We were without Yahweh Shem Shai. We didn't know that we were so-called. We didn't know that we weren't so-called Africans. You know what I'm saying? We thought we was Africans. You know what I'm saying? We thought we didn't know that we were the children of Israel. We didn't know that we had Lord, statute, commandments, and the Lord looked like us, and the Lord, only loves us, and He only came to die for us, and we didn't know none of that. You know what I'm saying? We was in a Gentile state of mind. We was celebrating Christmases, birthdays, and doing things that the heathens were doing, because that's what we were taught. You know what I'm saying? So we were naked, we were without His covering. But when the Lord brought us back into our remembrance, you know what I'm saying, sending the Holy Spirit upon us, because it's only sent for the elect. You know what I'm saying? And he brought us back into the fold. We understood. Now we're back under his covering. You know what I'm saying? He brought us back in. Now we're no longer naked, you know, as before, you know, because we're now covered, you know. You even get this here. This is Revelation 16:15. Behold, I come as a thief, because blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walketh naked and they see his shame. Yeah, and that's what happened with Adam and Eve. You know, his garment, his covering, the covering of Yahweh Shema Shai, you know, dealing with the knowledge, wisdom of Yahweh Shema Shai, and, you know, his teaching and his word, you know what I'm saying, that the Lord has given unto us, you know, and, um, you know, but without it, you know what I'm saying, we're naked, you know what I'm saying, and you'll see your shame, you know what I'm saying, and, you know, that's what happened with Adam and Eve. You know what I'm saying? When they lost their garments, when they lost their covering of Yahweh Shema Shai, they walk in nakedness, and they saw their shame. You know what I'm saying? That's why they say, "Oh, we are naked," because they're now in their shame, because they went off from the ways of the Lord. And then dealing with the fruit, also the fruit to see the fruit declare if the tree had been dressed, so the utterance of the conceit in the heart of men. Yeah, so it's the fruit declares if you, so you're dressed, or you're covered by Yahweh Shema Shai, if you have the knowledge, wisdom, understanding that He's given unto you. You know what I'm saying? So, because you can have fruits of all things, like, you know what I'm saying, you got the self righteous fruit. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Christianity fruit. You know what I'm saying? You know that, and that's what your mindset would be. You know what I'm saying? That so-called fruit of you know, the 5%ers or the Muslims or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That self will. You know what I'm saying? I'm woke fruit, whatever that you know, present it to yourself, and that's what you push forth, and that's what you'll be covered in. That'll be your garment, or you're dressed in that. You know what I'm saying? And because that's what you're gonna push. That's what you're gonna, you know, teach or preach into, you know, to who you believe. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna present that, and that's gonna be a representation of you. That woke or whatever, that Muslim or whatever. That's what you're gonna, you know, push forth. You know what I'm saying? But you're truly naked, you know what I'm saying? Because you're out without the ways of Yahweh, especially if you're truly of the nation of Israel, you know, and you know, teach or present that type of doctrine, plantation Christianity, or pushing, you know, that you're a Muslim, you're naked, you know what I'm saying? Because you're without the understanding of Yahweh Shema Shai. And this is what happened to Adam and Eve. They went away from, you know, the ways of Yahweh Shema Shai, and the Lord, you know, punished them, and we lost our immortality, and we came into a fallen state. That's why we're in the predicament, you know, that we're in now. But again, let me go back here. Reading on. Genesis 3 and 8. And they heard the voice of Yahweh Bashim Mashai walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Bashim Mashai against the trees of the garden. Yeah, so they, again, the Lord, these are the Lord's, this is not the Lord himself. See, that's another thing, you know, they think it's the Lord's men. Because remember, we're a chosen people until Yahweh Shema Shai. You know what I'm saying? The Lord had chosen a sect of people, you know what I'm saying, to, you know, worship him, and he gave his laws, statutes, and commandments to. And when the men of the Lord, these are the men of the Lord that came walking, you know what I'm saying, amongst Adam and Eve, and they tried to hide themselves, you know what I'm saying, amongst the nations, you know what I'm saying, the trees, the other, you know, other men of the other nations, the Lord, they tried to, uh, seep in, because, you know, they changed their style of dress and everything, you know what I'm saying, because the Lord gave us a particular way of dress too. And you can also read that in Ezekiel 16, I believe he went into that a little bit, dealing with, you know, the Jews and things like that, whatever. But again, you know, the focus here is, like, you know, showing you that, you know, this wasn't a serpent, you know, a snake that this devil has, you know, told you that it was. You know, this is actual a man that, you know, came to deceive Adam and Eve. Well, you know, came to Eve because Eve was a weaker vessel, and, you know, Eve gave it to Adam, and Adam indulged in it too, and, you know, that brought upon the downfall of our people. who is the nation of Israel today. We know, and the Lord power called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, and he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. Yeah, because he knew that he was without the covering of Yahweh Shem Shai. You know what I'm saying? That's why he hid it. He was in shame. He hid himself. And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree? Well, gain the knowledge this wicked serpent gave unto you. Wherefore I command thee that thou shouldest not eat. Yeah, the Lord separated us from those people. Like, don't go amongst them. Don't go amongst this tree, these people, because they're going to cause you, present wickedness to you, and you're going to, end up indulging in it. And the Lord and Yahweh power said unto the woman, Where is thou that thou hast, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Yeah, the serpent came to her, presented this wickedness to her, and Eve decided to indulge in it. She, what I'm saying, the serpent used his subtlety to deceive Eve because she was the weaker vessel, because he couldn't come to Adam with this. You know what I'm saying? He had to use, because Jake, when dealing with women, they just kind of like go with please their women, just to, especially now these days, to have a headache. And these women, especially the nation of Israel, they some wicked demon, women, Jake women, Southern King especially, you know what I'm saying? Like, the elders say, man, it's better off just to deal with the heathen, or, if you're gonna deal with your women, the nation of Israel, the Northern Kingdom, and I'm all about Northern Kingdom women, but yeah, or either, better off dealing with the Edomite or any other heathen, because, you're gonna catch hell, dealing with the Southern Kingdom, Jake nigger women, be knowing. And the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and the dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. Yeah, so the Lord curses the serpent, and gave a seed unto Eve. But we're going to read that here. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Yeah. So before the Adam and Eve going off, the Lord appointed them a seed of a serpent. You know what I'm saying? Which is Cain. You know what I'm saying? He appointed Adam and Eve a wicked seed, and he also appointed them a righteous seed, because the Lord is balanced. An unjust weight is an abomination to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord gave balance to them, giving them a wicked seed for them going off, and the seed of Cain, and he gave them a righteous seed in the seed of Abel. And Cain was the wicked one. He killed his brother Abel, which is also Esau and Jacob in reincarnation. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Esau comes in that same spirit as the serpent, because he is that serpent. You know what I'm saying? But that the Lord has appointed unto him that position of being a serpent, to being a wicked. You know what I'm saying? For a punishment unto the nation of Israel for going off. You know what I'm saying? And he uses that serpent. You know what I'm saying? Esau Edom today as his whipping stick unto the nation of Israel. This is for a judgment unto us. You know what I'm saying? And on his belly, being that he's going to be in a low state. You know what I'm saying? And the dust, he's bringing up. He causes confusion. You know what I'm saying? Because he did cause great confusion. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're in the mind state that we're in now. But the son of perdition is being revealed in these last days, and the Lord's truth is coming out. That's why we got the true understanding of the scriptures. That's why we're not caught up in the serpent being a snake, and him causing Eve to eat an apple and all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Because the truth for Yahweh Shema Shai is back in the earth, and it's whooping this devil's ass. You know what I'm saying? This devil, he's upset at this truth coming out and being at what it is. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is revealing himself to this devil. That's why he coming out with this heart pushing in these last days, trying to push, hurry up and do these things to try to hold him to his kingdom. But this is all for his downfall. He's just digging his pit deeper and deeper. But yeah, the Lord put a enmity between us and between the nation of Edom and the nation of Israel. You know what I'm saying? And we're bruising we're gonna bruise our heel on this devil's head because we're gonna crush him. We're gonna be in that constant fight. You know what I'm saying? To come into our position of power, and we're gonna totally crush this devil. In the coming of Yahweh Shem HaShai, to restore the nation of Israel. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, uh, yeah. So the Lord cursed us, man. I mean, the Lord cursed us for going off, and He, cursed, Eve, Adam and Eve, with the wicked serpent seed, which is Cain, which is today Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Because Cain, the Esau, Edom is Cain in the reincarnation. You know what I'm saying? And that's why when Esau and Jacob were born, there was warring in the the belly. You know what I'm saying? Showing you that Isaac again was so-called. It's like Isaac was Adam, Rebecca was Eve, and uh, Esau is Cain, and Jacob uh, is Cain and Abel again. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so that, you know uh, that's what the Lord brought forth. You know what I'm saying? Because just like Abel, and then once Abel put to death, he brought Seth. You know what I'm saying? And that was the chosen seed, and it's no difference. Jacob was the chosen seed. For the lineage to come back through of Yahweh Shai. To bring forth the redemption of the nation of Israel. You know. So we're in this constant war, and we're going to continue to bruise our heel on this devil. Trying to coming back into power when we crush him. And like I said, that's why they say, oh, the snake before had legs, and now he lost his leg. That's why he crawled. No, you know what I'm saying? This devil, the Lord had always made him low, man. That's what they call he's the basis of men. You know what I'm saying? Showing you that it's the power of Yahweh Shem and Shai, that have this devil in rule. You know what I'm saying? Because the Lord created him to be the wicked and to be a slave and to be a servant and to his brother. You know what I'm saying? And but he's in the power seat right now because that's through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai. Because the Lord, put raise up kings and put them in power. You know what I'm saying? What else I want to bring up? I had this Isaiah in the dust. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Yeah, the Lord going to take this devil out. He's going to be brought down to the dust. But dealing with that dust, he's dealing with the dust and cause confusion amongst the world. But he literally is going to be brought down to the dust. The Lord's going to bring him out of his power, so he can be brought low. What's going on here? So this is Psalms 113:7. He raises up the poor out of the dust. He lifted the needy out of the dunghill. And this, dealing with the nation of Israel, we're going to be raised up out of the dust, being raised up out of a low position in a confused state that this devil, has put us in. You know what I'm saying? Through his, witchcraft, his wickedness. You know what I'm saying? On the left hand side, deceiving us, deceiving the world. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's like I also meant to get, I didn't go to this. Revelations, that old serpent, you know what I'm saying? Called the devil and Satan. This is, and the great dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world. He was cast out in the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Yeah. That old serpent called the devil and Satan is Esau, Edom. You know what I'm saying? And let's go into, Slakia. I mean, get dragon, I want to go serpent. And we saw it before, it says dragon and serpent as well, but let's see. And this is the New Testament, so it's going to be in Greek.
Strong's G 3789. Office. Office.
Again, so it says snake serpent. We all know that there wasn't a literal snake or serpent that came into him. There was somebody that came with deception and wickedness, a sorceress. You know what I'm saying? With a sorcerer, a warlock, a witch. With the ancients, the serpent was the emblem of a cunning and wisdom, yeah, and that's what he used. He used cunning wisdom to deceive Eve. The serpent who deceived Eve was regarded by the Jews as the devil, yeah. And which is what is the, even Jake in the world, what do they call the so-called white man today? The devil, blue-eyed devil. You know what I'm saying? Why? That's all through the spirit of Yahweh Shemashah. Even though they're 2/3 or whatever, and they may not know, have the knowledge of understanding, that's still a spirit that the Lord has put upon them, to do those things or to say these things, like, call the so-called white man the devil. You know what I'm saying? Because he is. The Lord has appointed him to be the devil, Satan in the flesh. You know what I'm saying, on the earth, because the devil is going to deceive, and Satan is the adversary. You know what I'm saying? The Lord has chosen this devil to be his adversary. The so-called white man has been set up to be the wicked of the earth. He the basis of men, the lords of the men, and the Lord has raised him up in the last days to be the modern day Pharaoh, to make an example of him, just like he made an example of the Pharaoh of old, hardening the Pharaoh's heart, which is mine, to not let his people go, so he could bring judgment upon judgment, or plague upon plague, which is judgment unto him, and then the final judgment is to destroy him. That's what he did. It's no different than what he's going to do to Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He's going to bring these plagues upon him and his and people, and it's going to be a time of Jacob's trouble. The Lord's going to come down heavy, or dealing with starting with his sanctuary. He's going to deal with the nation of Israel as well. You know what I'm saying? They're going to get dealt with, because 2/3 of the people got to be destroyed inside, but they're going to be resurrected in the kingdom, and being righteousness. They're going to be shamefaced, for coming against the Lord and his truth in these last days. But in the kingdom, as time goes on, they're going to be right. And but the Lord, this is what the Lord has appointed Esau Edom to be, the so-called, the so-called white man. You know what I'm saying? The Lord has raised him up to be the modern day Pharaoh, and he's going to make an example of him in this great Exodus, when the Lord sent his chariots. You know what I'm saying? And he sent these ICBM missiles over here to destroy so-called America, United States, or whatever, because this place has been built up to be an altar in a prison, or a prison unto the nation of Israel. You know what I'm saying? This is the altar unto the Lord, because the Lord can have a big burnt offering when he destroyed this place, but it also been set up to be a prison sentence. You know what I'm saying, as a punishment to the nation of Israel. That's why you see, all these are people even coming over here from all over the place. DR, Puerto Rico, Cuba. You know what I'm saying? You see Issachar sneaking in the border. Why? Because they being brought here to be judged. Some of them probably being brought here to say that those that come into the truth of Yahweh Shemashah, but a lot of them coming over here to be judged. Even other heathens from other nations, they coming over here because why? The Lord is going to judge them. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's not going to get destroyed, because you got to understand that some of these heathens are going to survive, because they got to fulfill prophecy of going into captivity. You know what I'm saying? So every so-called white man ain't going to die. You know what I'm saying? Especially the least going to be hiding, and we're going to have to go get these devils out their hiding place. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of the the low-level so-called white people who don't know or understand that they're the elites, or who they are, that they don't understand that they Esau Edom, they're going to die here. You know what I'm saying? But the Lord's going to bring their spirits back, and they're going to serve their servitude. You know what I'm saying? And some of them, the people that come back, you know what I'm saying, they're going to be our women as well. You know what I'm saying? We're going to take them as virgins, heathen nations, or whatever, maybe whatever so-called, so-called white people, so-called Chinese people, so-called, we're going to take them as young virgins, because we ain't going to have no spoiled, polluted women, you know what I'm saying, who, 50 years old, that we dealing with. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have them young, right? You know what I'm saying? At the proper age, you know what I'm saying? 12, 13, 14, virgin women, you know what I'm saying? Which was not frowned upon in our kingdom. That's something that Esau Edom came with. No, you shouldn't partake or have sex with younger women in this captivity that we're in. You know what I'm saying? Because that's frowned upon. That's against the ways of this land, and you're going to get yourself in a messed up situation dealing with women like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's you got to use proper judgment. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's not something that's frowned upon by the Lord, it's frowned upon. It's going to bring you troubles in this man's society. You know what I'm saying? But in our kingdom, it's not going to be so. We're going to have women of other nations that are that age, if we choose, or a woman of our own nation. You know what I'm saying? At a young age, while they're virgins. You know what I'm saying? We ain't going to have. Ain't going to be like in this world, when a woman just jump from man to man, you just dealing with a polluted woman or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And ain't gonna be none of that. But that's showing you that the Lord says that we're in an adulterous generation, because we are. You know what I'm saying? In that sense, as itself. But that's why the Lord put us under the grace. You know, I mean, as long as you keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability, and you not dealing with women that are dealing with other men. You know what I'm saying? You're under that grace. So if the Lord give you a woman, she ain't got nobody, and you deal with her, then you good. You know what I'm saying? Because we still under the grace of Yahweh Shabbat Shah. You know. So yeah, yeah. So our people knew. Our people knew that. You know what I'm saying? At that time, they in the right state. That the devil was a man, or referred to him as a man that uh, was wicked. You know what I'm saying? A deceitful man that came in that spirit of Satan. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the serpent was. The serpent wasn't no damn snake. You know what I'm saying? As the devil has pertaining to his mythology that he created, the serpent was an actual man that practiced witchcraft, as you can see. And I also, like I said, I'm gonna put Elder Yashawamba's video, in the description box. So definitely check it out because he goes in deep into it and brings out great scriptures, proving his point all through the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai. But this is what the Lord put in my spirit to bring out, whatever as well. Dealing with this topic of Genesis 3 and dealing with the serpent. So the Lord is casting down the strongholds that we've been plagued with by plantation Christianity in these last days, because we're waking up into who we are. That's why this truth is coming out, and we had the knowledge and the understanding, of the scriptures. Be able to bring it out and edify, the flock. So that's pretty much it. I just want to say, hope this lesson is edifying. Like I said, this is Brother Dawah. And I just want to say, Kol Hola Yahweh Shema Shai, Karma Shivala, Abba Shalom.